as always, is Matt, Zombie Dog, Chucky, Dykes.
I'm a dog.
Yes, you are. Yeah, there you go. Okay, I thought you said dog for a second. Like, you're not a dog. I mean, yes, you are a zombie dog, but whatever. We also have new special co-host, Mr. Ryan Ben Willis Lootens.
Ben Willis? I like it. Do
you remember what movie it's from?
No idea.
Okay,
My brain's not firing all cylinders right now.
I kind of have a theme, and I'm going to see if I can keep it going throughout the entire new season, but we'll see. We also... I forgot I did this last night. I'm proud of this one. We have Joel Creeper DeWitte.
I feel like you've called me that before.
I think I have. And I think it was this exact same thing. It's just gone back to it because it appeared in two different lists.
Yes.
So what we're going...
I thought Joel was just admitting that, his nickname in college was the Creeper or something.
Somebody might have called me that, but I wouldn't remember.
I didn't hear it, but I have said it, so I guess that counts. So the theme this season on Bad Days in Haddonfield, I don't think I said that title. I said a lot last couple of weeks, so you know what you're listening to. Is going to be horror movie slashers, and what I'm trying to do, we're going to see if we can do this. Is I'm going to give Matt the most obvious one possible, Ryan an incredibly obscure one, or at least a name that's not very possible, and then Joel some sort of disgusting monster. And I really enjoy this theme, and I'm hoping it's going to work out. Ryan, if you did not know, Ben Willis...
I figured it out.
Oh, you figured it out.
You did last summer.
There it is. Yep.
The Fisherman.
Yep.
I like it.
I
had to look it up. I honestly didn't remember.
You were doing nicknames. No, I forgot what you were doing nicknames. I just thought that Ryan had a very long name, like Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I almost had to check my birth certificate for a second.
It's better when the nicknames just don't even sound like nicknames anymore. Like Zombie Dog. That's just part of Matt's name.
Yeah.
It kind of has been. I mean, if you don't follow us, like that is like his actual moniker now. It's pretty cool. I'm always gonna be proud of that one.
I'm looking up to changing my name actually legally to Zombie Dog.
I mean, my wife did it. It's something that is done. All right, so really quick before we get too started in our new show here, I want to send a big thanks out to Ryan Lootens for joining us. We have a legit Halloween fan on our show now, which is important because, as I've said before, it's not me this time.
Yeah, I mean, I've been raised on these movies. God, I can still remember watching this at a very, very young age and just being in love with the movie and then loving horror from here on out. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, I mean, this movie was the one that kind of broke it for me too. Horror was always too scary till I kind of forced myself to watch the one we're discussing today, Halloween, and it's like, oh, okay, I get it now. But yeah, so I've been on a few podcasts with Ryan, usually over in his neck of the woods. So I'm really happy to have you over in our neck of the woods. We're just going to start our very, very slow crawl of taking everyone from the front row over to ATH. We've already gotten Joel, we got Alex, now we've got Ryan. I'm just going to keep slowly moving through you.
I'm sure Jay will be next.
Yeah, we'll get you.
I've got a big net back in the garage.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, we're gonna send Matt over from the UK just to catch you with a net.
I know. I mean, I'm a pretty fast runner, so.
I mean, big net. Does it very big.
Does that go on the After the Hype budget or the Front Row Network budget?
Well, we have no budget, so it's definitely going to you.
Matt's an independent contractor.
Oh. The temp worker has to pay for the travel fees.
It's a gig economy, man. All right, so let's get started. So the new show this week, starting this week, Bad Days in Haddonfield. We're moving through each and every one of the Halloween movies, all three right franchises, or three attempts at franchises, if you will. The second one didn't really go so well, but we're still going to talk about it. Oh, Halloween 2 is a complete disaster, and I'm excited to talk about it in a few weeks or many.
Which Halloween 2 though? Because there's like 3 of them.
Well, the one we're talking about next week, I actually ended up enjoying more than I remembered, so definitely not next week's. But when Mr. Zombie comes in directing, whoo, he takes some big swings on Halloween 2, and
very, very big director interpretation.
Yes. Yeah. Are there aliens? Maybe. We'll get there. God, that's a fucked up movie. Anyhow,
I'm kind of looking forward to it now. Actually,
you should. It is just a white hot mess, and it's a lot of fun because of that. But let's talk about the good one. Like there's arguably a few good ones in the Halloween franchise, but there's, we all know there's one that's amazing. And that's what we're here today. So we're talking about the original Halloween, Carpenter, Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm just going to keep throwing, nouns out there. But that's the movie we're talking about.
Donald Pleasance.
Haddonfield.
Yeah, it takes place in Haddonfield. Yep. 70s.
William Shatner.
Sure. Want to just
well,
get
it's
more
his
and more.
face.
Let's
it's his face.
Let's just keep getting more and more vague. Pumpkin.
that pumpkin.
Laundry room.
Boy.
No joke. Tommy's pumpkin was legit, and he should be fucking pissed they ruined that pumpkin. That was a nice pumpkin. I'm not going to go into now why I have so many notes, but I have a lot of notes, and there was quite a few just about that pumpkin. I was very sad.
Ronnie Lamb.
Oh god.
All right, so really quick as we're getting started here, Joel, I have to ask, had you seen this one before?
I am completely blind on the Halloween series, so this is a new. I'm aware of The Mask, and my knowledge of it is based off of pop culture references, so maybe a little slanted.
So dude with white mask and kitchen knife.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Like even the pumpkin in the beginning was a surprise to me, and boy, it left a different impression than what I actually ended up getting out of this movie. And maybe it's a product of its time, but like just having this very grainy looking jack-o'-lantern next to your movie, it was a little jarring, and it gave me a good chuckle for a minute.
I'm curious to see what you say next week when the pumpkin gets a little creepier. It's a creepy pumpkin in Halloween too.
I mean, it's like with the pumpkin though. I think it's really like this film was shot for very little money. It's like $300,000 or something.
Yep.
And it's kind of effective, I think. The opening sequence, like just very slowly pushing in on this pumpkin.
Well, especially when the lights go down and it's just the image of the face.
The sad thing. They showed the pumpkin first, and I was very bewildered. And then they showed the name. It was just like, oh yeah, that's why there's a pumpkin on here.
I see what they did there.
I thought I was watching the babysitter murders. Like, what's going on here?
I was expecting the screen just to be a slew of bodies with babysitters dead.
See, and I love how we're all praising the intro here, and then there's me who's like, "This isn't Peacemaker. Where's my skip intro button? This is taking."
Yeah,
but the music's so fucking good.
It's great.
It's so simple as well, and it's another one like John Carpenter he does everything. Like he did the music as well. Like how many directors write, edit, direct, and do the music of their own film,
and have a voice cameo,
and have a voice cameo. Yeah,
crazy ones, just the crazy ones.
Yeah.
And usually they're not so successful. Usually when you see a name on that many jobs, it's like, oof, that movie's gonna be rough. Carpenter pulled it off, at least in this case. All right.
He did it on Escape from Assault on Precinct 13 as well. He had a pseudonym for the editor, John.
I didn't realize that. Yeah. I've never been the biggest. I love Carpenter, don't get me wrong, but I've never been like the nerdiest for Carpenter guys. It's more so like, oh, he made that movie and I liked it. I don't really dive too deep into it. So that's interesting.
I don't know if I'm on the right podcast.
I was very honest before I started this one. Like I'm coming at this one from not the super fancy. Oh, geez. Okay. References that won't go over the audio podcast. Anyhow.
Right. I held up a pin that I got from Jay that says directed by John Carpenter because we like him on flashbacks. I
love Carpenter. I just haven't. I shouldn't say I don't. I haven't nerded out about his stuff. And I don't really know why. But now I'm starting a whole podcast about it. So I guess I should stop saying that.
I actually found out like 2 days before it was going to happen that he was going to be in the UK doing a concert, like because that's what he was doing at the time. He does like music concerts and stuff like that now. And I found out 2 days before, and there was a VIP option on the tickets where you could literally go backstage and have 2 items signed by him. I was already going to a Star Trek convention. If not, I would have gone and done the VIP thing because the VIP ticket was like £120, which to meet John Carpenter and get 2 things signed by him, that's very cheap.
Okay, so if we're converting that to dollars, because dollar to pound's pretty close right now, that's the same that it would cost you to meet the Red Power Ranger at Power Morphicon. Like just so we know who's overcharging and who isn't.
Yeah. And you get a fucking hour and a half, 2-hour concert included in that ticket as well.
Oh no, for the Red Power Ranger, you just get the privilege of him like talking to you for a few seconds. He's a dick if you didn't know.
Yeah, I've heard that.
No, he wasn't very nice.
Thinks very highly of himself.
He does. He wasn't really nice to my son either. So he's really fallen like a whole bunch of ranks. Whereas like the Black Power Ranger is now the coolest guy in the entire world. Like came around the table, gave Corin a high five. He's a cool dude. Red Power Ranger sucks. Anyhow, we're talking about Halloween, right? Let's talk about Halloween. We've never started my Power Ranger podcast because
I was the Red Power Ranger for Halloween once.
How recently?
I don't want to talk about it.
How much do you charge for meet and greets?
Is it less than $100?
$12.
I can swing that.
If you're lucky, I might even be able to do like a scissor kick.
Oh boy.
I'll need to stretch for an hour before.
Does that cost $14?
$12.50.
$12.50. Oh, what a steal.
No, but it's actually $1,250 because that's how much the medical bills will be after he goes to the hospital to get everything sorted out after he's done the scissor kick.
Matt, quit trying to upend my racket here.
So like Matt's really just kind of ruining this. I was like all on board.
Yeah, nice American healthcare jab right there.
Yep. And I fall over and stab myself with a rust. Oh, no. If I get really experimental, stick a deodorant can up my ass and it gets stuck up there, I go to the NHS and get it out for free.
Well, congratulations on not being American.
Oh,
Anyhow,
I think you paid with your dignity on that one.
You sure did. All right, let's talk about Halloween. Back on track. We're doing this. It's gonna happen. Anyhow. All right, so we're gonna kind of get started. We're gonna do kind of like we do throughout most of our Binge Buddies shows. We're gonna start at the beginning of the movie, move to the end of the movie, kind of talk about it as we move along. We're gonna do that as best as we can. There's a lot to talk about in this movie because it's so well made. Even though it is very simplistic, there's still a lot to chew on. First and foremost, where I'm gonna get started with this thing, as I've mentioned many times throughout many podcasts, my favorite horror franchise of all time is Friday the 13th. I love Friday the 13th. I think they're the best horror movies ever made. They're completely ridiculous and awful, and that's why they're the best movies ever made. And I can watch Halloween and go, I know for a fact I don't get Friday the 13th without this movie. And even to the point of the first Friday the 13th movie is basically just a huge fucking ripoff of this movie, down to like the POV intro, which is where we're starting. I love the POV intro to this movie. I think it's absolutely incredible. My famous story for this one of all time is this. Correct me if I'm wrong. This came out after Exorcist, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so
Exorcist was 77, I think, or was it?
Yeah, I think that's right. But either way, the story stays the same. I just don't remember if this was because of the Exorcist or not. But either way, my parents went to go see this in the 70s. And the moment, I think it came after the Exorcist when my mom was like, I'm not seeing any more fucking horror movies.
73.
Okay. My mom had given like the firm, I'm done. And my dad's like, but it's Halloween. You got to see Halloween. Everyone's talking about it. So my mom said, okay, fine, fuck it, whatever. We'll go see it. She made it to the point where the POV shot of the knife coming out of the drawer happens. And she walked the fuck out of the theater.
That's a big nope for me. I'm out. Understanding my limits here.
She just stayed in the lobby waiting for my dad for the entire hour and a half, 2 hour endeavor. She's like, nope, not doing this one.
That just sounds like good judgment. Like,
yeah,
she did herself pretty well.
Like nothing scary has happened. She's like, I know that knife's going into a person and I don't want to watch it happen. I'm out.
Which is really interesting, really, because it's not exactly the bloodiest of films either. It's like a lot of it is very atmospheric.
Mm-hmm.
The horror of it is it's more atmospheric. It's not like the sort of slasher films that they would become later on. Because, you know, with Friday the 13th, for example, a lot of that is like really sort of like shock value of all the blood and the gore.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas this is more like atmospheric. So I remember like years ago for Halloween, I did I used to do these like sort of themed Halloween things, like, you know, watch a bunch of films. So I've done like, you know, Romero's Day of the Dawn, Light and Living Dead, Dawn of the Day of the Dead in one night, and then one year it was
a crazy order.
No, sorry, I did them in the right order. I did them in the right order. I just said them in the wrong order. So we did Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th Part 1, and Halloween. And I remember distinctly like watching the first Friday the 13th one, which being like, this is not really that well made. And then we went on to Halloween, and it was like the complete opposite of like, how it was shot, and the fact that it wasn't just like really bloody. It was actually like, you get like sort of the tension and stuff like that, right? Whereas with Friday the 13th, it was just a bit like, ooh, lots of gore. Let's throw a lot of gore in. And, we went into Friday the 13th. This bear in mind, never seen one before in my entire life. Expecting to see Jason, you don't see Jason.
Oh yeah, that'd be a bit of a disappointment.
This might not be that bloody, but it is brutal.
Yes,
It's very brutal, and
Every kill is terrible to watch.
absolutely.
It lends itself to the imagination of the viewer. Let the viewers, figure out what's happening. Like when I first watched this movie and Annie dies, I'm like, what's happening? What's happening? And then you realize, oh, she got her throat slashed. That's awful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like when you're watching that whole sequence, and we'll get there more organically in a minute, but like the whole like around the car arm thing, like that's not very effective. How is he actually like, okay, movie magic, whatever. Oh no, never mind. There she goes.
She gone.
Yeah, I always thought that he just strangled her because I thought it was just his hand around the throat. I never realized that he actually slashes her throat. That actually negates one of my notes for Halloween 2, where I was like, why is the blood all over her chest?
Why is her neck red?
Why is the blood all over her chest? She got strangled. She didn't get stabbed.
Why is there blood? Did he rip her throat? I don't get it. What's going on here?
Did he do a bit of Roadhouse thing again? Like pull the throat out?
I've never actually seen the entirety of Roadhouse. I need to fix that. All right, so
don't worry, you can watch the shitty remake that's coming with Conor McGregor in.
Hard pass.
Yeah,
that's gonna kill this podcast because I'm at to like rage quit. Anyhow, moving on.
We'll do that right after the Stone Cold Steve Austin movie marathon.
See, I'd be on board for that one. All right. So anything else we need to talk about this opening thing? Like it's incredibly effective. As Joel and Ryan just mentioned, incredibly brutal. Because like I just want to spend just a second talking about the actual kill in this opening, because like all of it said, it's a very brutal thing to watch. But there's something about that first kill that I think is far more effective than the rest of the movie. And the movie is very brutal. Like I think you guys are absolutely right. Like especially like some of these kills are just ow. But this first one, like the note that I kind of made about it when I was watching, because this is the second time I've had to try to watch with the critical eye. So I'm trying to because we did an episode of this on ATH years ago. I'm trying to come at like things that I didn't notice the first time. And there's something about that first kill that almost feels like dreamlike. And I think it's because of the whole POV angle, and it's coming from like a place of like necessity, but all you see is the knife going up and down, and you hear the sound effect, the thunks, but you don't see it actually connect. And she looks kind of far away. So it looks almost like Michael is like achieving a dream, if you will, of like, oh, I'm finally murdering. This is wonderful. And the more you kind of like let that stew in your head, the more fucked up that kill is.
Well, and it gets even more visceral and dreamlike when the mask is put on and you see it through the eyes. It is a whole different ballgame when you have a wide angle or a tight shot like that, wide angle, and then you get more narrow. So you're seeing what he's seeing, which makes it more visceral, more lends that self to the imagination part. But it's you're like, what am I watching? What am I seeing? Because I feel like I'm looking through someone's eyes, and I think that really lays on to the point, especially what Dr. Loomis says later on.
Yeah, absolutely.
That effect as well of the mask going on, it's so well done. It's so effective. The whole sequence. I mean, like they spent 2 whole days just on that opening sequence, and to be honest, I think it's time well spent because it is so well done. Like you do genuinely feel like you're in that point of view, and when the mask goes on as well. And like I said, the sound design of it is so good. Like I've got the 4K Blu-ray that they released in this country. I think Shout have done a series where they've actually got an Atmos soundtrack as well. But the soundtrack the soundtrack alone on the normal one, which is just, I think it's just True HD or whatever you call it. It's still really kind of visceral, and the thunking, like the stabbing sound of the knife, like. I was reading they got that sound effect by stabbing watermelons. It's just like it's got that sort of that wetness to it of like that sounds horrible.
Yes, that's the point.
Yeah, but it has that sort of like, you can sort of like hear.
It's like you're breaking a balloon with water in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like more sort of fleshy, I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah.
But you can hear that sort of like almost squelching sound.
Yeah.
That's even a worse way of describing it.
Yeah. Because we have cameras this 1 week, you can see Joel's face getting more and more upset the more you're talking about it.
So I just start saying like words that a lot of people trigger by now, like moist or something.
Oh God. It was
I've never had a great
murder.
Face. No.
All right.
I have to make a joke though. I have to make a joke. I feel bad for Judith. Not because of the fact that she died, it's the fact that she had 12 seconds worth of sex before she died. Because by the time the light in the window went out to the time that Michael got to the stairs, it was maybe 30 seconds, and dude was already dressed going down the stairs.
Even as a kid, I'm just like, did they just go upstairs and like, look at our nipples? All right, we're leaving. I don't really see anything else happening, unless credit due, they're high schoolers. I'm sure it was terrible sex. I'm just imagining that scene from American Pie. He just like goes up, just ejaculates as soon as he sees a neck and goes, "Oh, sorry," and then walks off.
She still had her underwear on, her bottoms on, so that makes sense. I'm done.
We've had a very long conversation on the show about pants on sex from Phantasm, so we're very experienced with the concept.
That was going through my head straight away as soon as you said that about the underwear. I'm like, yeah, he had jeans on, she had her pants on,
and Reggie made it happen, man. All right. Anything else we want to mention about the opening of this thing, or should we actually start moving in the meat of this movie? Ooh, that felt gross too.
It's all relative, 12 seconds might be the best 12 seconds of their life at that age.
Joel, thank you. I now realize the error of my ways.
I mean, if you're is anybody here familiar with IT Crowd? Anyone?
Oh
yeah. So I just like to imagine that the guy who got away is now the guy from the episode where they thought Jen died, and he keeps on like, I was the last person to sleep with her. That's that guy.
That'd have been great if he was in Halloween Kills with all the survivors. Yeah. I was Judith's boyfriend.
Yeah, I was the last guy to sleep with Judith. I'm not sure if you guys knew that. Anyhow, yeah,
I'm extremely bad luck. Who wants to sleep with me?
It's like, I was the last guy to sleep with Judith. It was it was really good. It was really good.
She said I was the best she ever had.
Of my life.
she said I was the best sex she'd ever had, and it only took 12 seconds as well. That's how good I am, ladies.
Transitive property. You're sleeping with Judith right now.
Yeah, you're that much closer to Michael Myers. 6 degrees of separation.
Oh God, you just know that if that would happen today, that guy would have like some sort of weird following of like people who believe that shit. He'd go off and start a cult or something.
Oh yeah. Let's go, because current day is fucked. Anyhow, all right. So moving kind of into the actual movie. So after the whole horrible opening sequence, which is very, very hard to watch, we then get jump to the future where Michael's now older. I don't remember the age. I'm sure one of you do.
21, I think.
21. 15
there it
years
is.
Later.
I was going to say 20 and it felt wrong, so I just went with not knowing. But he's getting let out of prison, not really let out of, not prison, mental institution. He's getting moved and they're not very happy about it. Dr. Loomis, his doctor, who's been his doctor the whole time, is actually rather pissed because, this guy's knucking futs. We probably shouldn't give him the chance to get out. And then he was right. I've heard a rumor, and now maybe Ryan can confirm this for me, that the actor was ferociously drunk during the sequence.
Donald Pleasance?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I heard like he had like 4 bottles of wine before recording the sequence, and like Carpenter was, I don't think we're gonna have a scene. Like, how is he gonna pull this off? And he's just like, okay, and he had the blackest eyes. Like he just nails it just right out of the gate. Like that's amazing.
Yeah, this was a movie that Donald Pleasance was like, yeah, I'll do this, but I'm gonna have fun with it.
I require a case of wine every day.
Which is really weird, really, because if you think about it, they Donald Pleasance and John Carpenter ended up getting a really good sort of working relationship, and he went on to work with him in multiple films.
Prince of Darkness.
Prince of Darkness, Escape from New York. He's the president in that as well. Yeah. And yeah, so it's really interesting that he was so kind of like, oh, really, I don't want to have to do this film. And then actually, you know, some of his most iconic roles come out of the Carpenter sort of films that he's done.
Yeah, like I know he's the most accomplished actor in this movie, at least when the movie was made. And this is, at least at the time, the only thing I knew him from. So it's like, he is our big get. I'm like, who? But you know, that was me as a kid.
Blofeld.
Yeah, it was Blofeld, man.
No, I get that now, but as a kid, he was just.
Wait, as a kid, you saw Halloween before Blofeld?
Before old Bond movies? Absolutely. I wasn't raised in the UK, dude. That's you.
I will say this. I do remember seeing him in Jesus of Nazareth as one of the three wise men. So at least he's typecast.
I won't call him wise in this. More, I don't know. How would you describe it? He's crazy.
He's a crotchety old man in this thing.
Hey, doctor, wise man, evil genius. He's super smart, okay?
Yeah, he's a smart guy. There's the typecast. I'll take that one.
I suppose he knew that they shouldn't be moving Michael Myers.
I mean, he was right too. I mean, that poor nurse, like she had a bad fucking day. That had to be freaky as shit. And then, you know, isn't she the one who gets killed in H2O? Not to spoil things for Joel, but like she comes back around.
H2O and Halloween Kills.
Yeah. She
dies twice.
Poor lady.
It's okay. I'll be lucky to remember that by the time we get to those movies.
Yeah, they're farther down the line. You got to get through some real gems till we get to those real gems.
5 and 6.
I still haven't seen 6. I'm gonna watch it for the first time for this show, and I'm excited. That's the only one of the franchise I haven't seen, and I'm excited-ish for it.
There's Paul Rudd in it.
Hey,
yeah,
make sure that's what you did. Make sure what you did before the first one, do it before the 6th one.
Got it. No problemo. Anyhow, all right, so we're kind of done with that sequence. Now we're gonna start meeting the kids. We meet Lori, we meet her friends, where if you want to remember the names, that's on you. They're there to die.
Annie and Linda.
I mean, I know
totally remember their names.
Totally.
I just think PJ Smalls. Like that's all I think. Like I know that she has a name in this thing, but I just know her as PJ Smalls. So that's just because I have a friend who's met her like 100 times and says she's the absolute coolest person he's ever met. So like that makes me excited. I'm like, yeah, she's totally awesome.
Totally.
How many times? Somebody get the totally counter out.
I mean,
I remember the first time I was watching this, like the first time I was watching it with the sex scene where like she said after the sex scene and she says something and then we just sort of like joking and went totally, and then she went totally, and then we just both started absolutely pissing ourselves.
When I was a kid and I was so fucking scared of horror movies that like I was like nervous to watch this, she was the entry point for me. Like her doing that totally, it was something me and my buddy could latch onto and kind of make fun of. So as we're getting like more and more nervous about this movie, it was like, oh, he's totally gonna die. Oh, totally. And like that made us laugh our way through the movie, and that made me actually able to get through it. So like she's like my saving grace in this. Like without her, I can't guarantee I'd be a horror movie fan. So like I give a lot of credit to both her in this movie. That said, I still don't remember her name, and I'm just kind of waiting for her to die. So I guess I'm a little cruel at the same time. But I want to say, like, as this movie is starting, there's this like constant thing, and I blame it more like on the internet and kind of people of today, where like as soon as we can make fun of one thing, we get super fucking excited about it. We just beat the shit out of it. Yes, Halloween was shot during the summer. We get it. People really like making fun of it, like, oh yeah, like because there is like, you know, a really cool side story that comes with it that I caught in trivia. Then Ryan let us know too that like because they had to film during the summer, they had to paint leaves and then throw leaves, and had fucking Freddy Krueger out there throwing leaves for them, which is awesome.
And then they couldn't go get more leaves. They had to collect the other ones.
Yeah. It's like
they were paper leaves as well that were painted brown. So the budget was so small they couldn't afford to buy more pieces of paper.
That's fucking hilarious. But yeah, so like, has it ever bothered any of you? Like, I know Joel, this is your first time watching it, but like Matt and Ryan, the fact that the leaves on the tree are green, has that ever made you go like, this movie doesn't make sense?
Or there's palm trees in the difference? No.
Oh yeah.
Back in the background?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, for me, it's just been like, I'm watching like the first time I watch a film, I'm watching the film. I'm not kind of like analyzing it to the point of so like maybe like third, fourth, fifth viewing is when I started thinking, hang on a minute, why are the trees green in October? But then it was like, oh well, and then you read the trivia and it's like, well, that makes sense then. It's never like sort of taking me out of the movie though. I've never gone, oh, I can't watch this. Fucking green trees in October. Are you kidding me?
It's the age-old Spielberg quote when they made Jaws and the cinematographer's like, no, if we wait too long, the clouds are going to move and the shots won't match. And Spielberg goes, if they're looking at the clouds, we lost them. That's to me the green leaves here. Like, it's like, do you really care? You're here to watch babysitters get fucking brutalized. Way to go on the foliage though. Anyhow,
I didn't notice once that the leaves were off,
because that was your first one. When she's walking across the street with Tommy, you're focused on them because you're learning their dynamic as babysitter and babysittee. So you're focused on that relationship that they have, not looking off down the street, seeing that there's palm trees back there.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to the internet loves to nitpick stuff because they'll watch something over and over, scrutinize. It reminds me of TV shows sometimes back then where I don't know that these were intended for somebody to do it on repeat loop watching, right?
Right.
And they sort of forgive errors like that because the idea is like, to Brian's point, if you're doing your job right, people aren't going to scrutinize and pay attention to those details.
Yeah. All right. Well, I wanted to get that done. So there, internet, you can no longer bitch about the green trees. We've solved it. I'm sure.
Assholes.
Yeah. Doing the Lord's work over here.
I mean, the internet just likes to bitch about anything. If the internet was getting a blowjob, it's still like, oof, it's not great, that one, is it? It's
it's not like those 12 seconds back in high school.
Yeah, exactly.
Boy. All right, so we kind of move through this. I'm going to kind of move through this part kind of quick because like this is really just kind of setting the stage. We're getting to know the people, getting to know the players, we're getting to know who's wearing red shirts and who isn't. And I honestly think it's done rather well. And I think this is it's leaning more into like the budgeting of the filmmaking of they did what they had time to do. So they didn't really have time to like do these crazy backstories and all these different sequences. It's really just like, here's Lori, she's being followed by that guy. Here are her friends, they're probably going to die. This is where they're going to be tonight. Are we good? We're good. Moving on. And I think it's like, it's both economical, like in time and in the way they shot it. And it also works because it feels more realistic that way.
Well, I think this also plays big to the script because the script knows what the objective is. And Deborah Hill does a really good job of writing the teenage perspective. And if you think about this movie, this is just a day in their life. Like we are just dropped into a day of their life and nothing, like there's nothing out of the ordinary happen except for this weird, creepy figure. So the script plays out perfectly. Like this is all completely random because we don't have any of that backstory. This is just completely random. And that's what the new trilogy is trying to show, the randomness of Michael. And that's what makes this movie work. It is just, he picked them, they're it. He saw them at her house. He's probably thinking, why is she at my house? She's mine. I'm going to kill her.
Yeah. And it's really like that girl stopped by my house, so I'm going to kill her. Oh, look, she's
going to target her.
I'm going to kill those people too. Like,
mine too.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, like, the idea of Michael sort of like, it's random. And I'm just thinking then it's like, Michael's not the Terminator. He doesn't have a specific person he's going after. He's like Jaws, for example. He's just this sort of force of nature that just rolls into town and just goes,
yep,
you're going to be killed. And it's just, it's really interesting, like when you think about it from that perspective as well, because it's like you said, it's just an ordinary day that just happens to be Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
That we're just, any other day it could be, we could be following these characters. It could be a romantic comedy, it could be a family drama or something like that.
Coming of age high school movie, like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they don't really like high school students. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just the fashion of 70s back then, but they're all dressing like 40-year-old people.
Yeah.
Is that just the 70s? Did everyone just dress like 40-year-old people?
I mean, yes, because they're all wearing their own clothes. They didn't have a budget for costumes.
Well, yeah,
so yes, they are just they're dressed like 40-year-olds.
I did read that actually. I actually read that Jamie Lee Curtis went out and specifically bought the clothes that she wears in that film, and like, and it's just on the sort of assumption this is how Laurie would dress.
Can you just see Jamie Lee Curtis going, "Mom, I need a costume for this movie," and then she comes in wearing Marion Chambers clothes from the Psycho.
Well, that was why Carpenter actually cast her apparently as like a bit of an homage to Hitchcock, because her mother, Janet Leigh, was in Psycho, and then I think it's The Fog that he does, where he actually has Janet Leigh in that film as well.
It's like Carpenter's a fan of horror movies or something. Maybe.
Yeah, it's interesting, really.
Taking a stab.
Yeah. One of the films that's on the TV is the original Howard Hawks' The Thing, which he would go to remake.
Yeah.
Check out our episode on Front Row Flashbacks that we just recorded on The Thing. Sorry.
No, all good.
I would love to talk The Thing.
I gotta say though, there is something about the horror movie marathon. It gave me like really, really unfair expectations for horror movie night, like movie marathons on TV, because that looked like the coolest fucking one ever, and I got none. There was like I'd watch Charlie Brown talk about a pumpkin for an hour if I really want to, but that was awesome. Where the hell was that in my childhood? The bastard.
Yeah, I think the closest I ever saw to that was when I was about 16, 17. There was a Friday the 13th one year that Sky Movies showed a load of Friday the 13th films.
Well,
like literally all
Sky.
day. But it's like during the day I couldn't watch them because you had to put the pin in, even though there was no sort of like parental restrictions on it. I still had to put the pin in because it was an 18 or something. So I couldn't watch any of them because I didn't know the pin.
That's funny.
Sky.
All right, so the last thing I want to talk about before we get to like the actual night of murders is there's one sequence that I think is really important to talk about because it's the one that stuck with me the most since my first viewing, and it's when they're walking back from school and Michael drives by because Michael learned to drive at some point in his life, which I'm willing to forgive. I think it works enough for the movie. But it's
they have that really funny line where it's like with the doctor is like, I can't even drive a car, and it's like, well, he's doing very well last night. I just want to give him lessons, and I just love that as like this little throwaway line, like, yeah, we'll figure that out.
Yeah,
Michael. They say that Michael just looks out the window, so maybe he got a good view of the parking lot.
Yeah,
okay, put the key in the ignition, put it in reverse.
Or maybe we're just giving ourselves too much credit for knowing how to drive cars, and it's not that complicated.
Especially American cars, you don't even have gear sticks.
Some do, I think.
That one didn't.
Maybe that one didn't. I've never driven one, so who knows? But there's something about that moment where her friend shouts out like, "Hey man, speed kills," and he slams on the brakes, and like. I just want to know what's going through his head there. Like, is he like, all right, let's ramp this shit up. We're going to take him out. Oh, I guess it is the middle of the day. I'll do it this afternoon. Like,
he totally does kill somebody in the middle of the day, though. He is in the IDG AF mode, like walking around midday, outright stab someone, just moves on. Yeah, just gotta get a taste before we get to the main event.
Yeah, but when he kills that guy and steals his clothes, he is in the middle of nowhere. It's not like just a suburban street.
See, but I don't even know if he had a knife. Like, I want to know, like, what did he use to kill him?
Yeah, I mean,
fist.
Yeah,
and I said mitts.
Your mitts.
That's what I was going for, but like I sort of like combined mitts and fists together and got mists.
You got a whole wet thing going on this episode. I'm not sure what that's about.
He's Mr. Mister. You better step down, clown. If he gets pissed, you get missed. It's an old school Aqua Teen reference for you.
Lord.
I did think that was far too creative for you to just come up with that off the cuff then.
Yeah, I give myself credit all day, but I'm not that good. Anyhow, so let's get into the night of murders, if you will. Oh, no, sorry. One more thing that I have to talk about before we get to the night of murders, because I think this is important. There's a moment in this, and it's just to make fun of myself because I love doing that. There's a moment in this thing where they go to the cemetery and they find that Judith, her headstone has been taken away. And they're like, what the fuck? Kids, they suck, man. Like, why would they do this? As a kid, the first time I saw this, I thought that was supposed to be her grave, and they just had the budget to dig a hole big enough, and we're supposed to just infer that was her grave. And then at the end of the movie, I thought that was her body on the bed, and I just forgot about the other babysitter. I'm like, why did he take her pants off? Why did he do that? Like, and it's for the longest time, it just didn't make sense to me at all.
Why is she not a skeleton?
Yeah, like she was awfully preserved. I don't understand this. Whatever happened to that other babysitter? Like all this.
Man, the mortician in Haddonfield, Illinois, is legit.
Yeah, I was just very confused by this whole thing, and then when I was watching it, much later in high school, and it got to like, oh, it's the headstone. Wow, I was dumb.
Especially when at the end the headstone's there as well.
Yeah, oh, I know.
I
was too young for this movie.
I do really like the shot. It's just before the night, so I think we probably would skip over it. But it's when Loomis goes up to Sheriff Brackett the first time, and you see the car in the background, and Loomis is sort of like looking one way, and then the car pulls around, and he looks, and as the car's about to go into his field of view, he looks the other way. I just think it's so well done that. And I'm just thinking, like, you know, for a low budget film to have something that well choreographed and work really well and not even feel like it's staged as well. Because the way Donald Pleasance is just sort of like acting as well, it just feels like he's just naturally just kind of waiting and just looking around. It doesn't feel like someone's cueing him to like, okay, and look right, and he just goes like that. I just think it's such a really well done shot.
The way you just kind of described it reminds me of something I heard in film school when some kid was just, you know, mouthing off like, I don't have the money to do this sort of thing. I want to make this movie. I don't have the money. And my teacher just looked at it and went, you don't need money to be talented. And it's like,
yeah,
that tracks. And like this movie is kind of like the quintessential example of that. They had no money and it's still damn near perfect.
I can just see Carpenter in the background, you know, motioning the car to come forward. And then, you know, he's waiting for the car to turn. As he's turning, he's going to go like this to have Pleasance look the other way. Like the way they could have just done this was, but Pleasance nailed it without looking like he was getting some type of direction, which proves why he is such a veteran actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those
absolutely hammered.
Yeah.
And he was literally just looking and going, what am I doing here again?
What kind of wine am I going to have tonight? Ooh, Chardonnay.
Who is my wine? You?
Yeah. So we're just off camera like this, good, with the bottle.
Honestly, I think budget limits or constraints sometimes produce the best art or content. It breeds necessity in really honing yourself into the bare minimum of what will succeed. And I think that shows itself evident in this. And I think we even saw it in Phantasm a few times where the budget increased, but it didn't produce a better outcome.
Whatever do you mean?
Well, it increased and then started to decrease. It's like it's the only sort of series of films that I know of that's ever had that happen, where like your budget's increasing, it increases once and then just starts slowly decreases throughout the rest of the series. Like you never have an increase again. That
was the constant. What did we learn last time from giving Cascar Lally more money? Oh, that he'll just spend it. So let's not do that. Sorry, this is not a Phantasm podcast. All right, so the Night of Murders is here.
Phantasm podcast.
The Night of Murders is here, and the kids are all with their babysitters with the kids, although they're still real thirsty and they want to trade kids so they can go bang, and the parents are all gone. Where have they gone? Nobody knows, but they're probably at the most banging party I've ever heard of, because they don't ever fucking come back, ever. Like, I'm not want to spoiling anything for next week, but the parents still aren't fucking here, except for one parent who takes a kid to a hospital. But I have a lot of questions next week. We'll get to next week. But there is something about this, like, where did everyone go?
And
like,
what kind of
Haddonfield?
Who puts on a party as well on Halloween that's not a Halloween party? Because they go out dressed up in, like, a suit and a dress, like they're going to some sort of ball or something.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, I mean, fun. I guess you're having a great time, but yeah, whatever. Who cares? The parents aren't there because the parents can't be there, because the parents are there, then there won't be as much murder. I get it. So for the purpose of the movie, cool. Parents gone, let's start murdering.
Have them dressed up though and going to a Halloween party. At least have a mask on or something.
Well, remember how we talked about nitpicking stuff to death?
More about the parents.
How many podcasts have we done together now? I'm gonna nitpick. You should know this by now.
I swear you're getting a little extra spicy with the camera on this week.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm always like this. Wait till the second one when I start stripping off on the camera.
I mean, we already had Ryan bragging about putting a shirt on today, so now we're gonna brag.
Doesn't happen often, but when it does.
I put the.
I'll demonstrate how you remove it as well.
I put it on like the boyfriend at the start of the movie, just very slowly as I'm looking around.
That's the best 12 seconds of your life, baby.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. So the kids are all where the pawns are in the spot where they need to be, and Michael is doing his oh boy, here I go killing again, and the movie just kind of really fucking rolls from here on out, and it does it in a way that I think is both incredibly awesome, and still having seen this movie 100,000 times, still surprisingly creepy. Because it's the whole way that we talked about earlier, where it is just a normal day. It's a normal day where Lori's talking to her friend on the phone. The friend's like, what boys do you like that sort of thing. So when the kids start getting picked off, there's no sense of urgency from anyone else, because why would there be? Like, no one's expecting this horrible thing to happen. So like when the first one dies, it's not like all the friends start freaking out. It's just like, oh, she's not answering her phone.
Yeah.
And like that makes it that much more creepy, because it's just that air of not knowing. It's that thing that like some movies can pull off great and others try and fail, where the audience knows more than the people in the movie, and it makes it scary. Sometimes that alleviates the fear. Like when you know what's going on, it's not scary anymore. Whereas this one, it makes it scarier. And I think that's really cool.
How many times have you had someone ringing you as well, and you know, you're in the middle of something, so you don't answer the phone. Now imagine like, you know, the other person on the other end of that just being like, oh, okay, whatever. But then actually in the concept in this film, it's like, oh, you're not answering because you've been murdered. Like, how many times have you rung someone, they've not answered? You never once think, oh, they've been murdered. So it's like,
well, so now I'm gonna wonder that
every time Joel calls someone, they don't answer, they must be murdered.
Well, it's that thing though, isn't it? It's like, you know, when you think about it, this is just a normal day. Like, it doesn't act like a film where the character suddenly has this sixth sense of like, oh my god, something terrible must have happened. They always answer the phone. It's just like, oh well, she must be having sex or something like that, or, you know, whatever. So it's just, I think that's what you were saying, Brian. It's that much creepier because it could be happening. Like, whenever, you know, there is that slight possibility that whenever you ring someone and they don't answer the phone, they could be getting murdered. Like, obviously you don't ever think of that because, you know, it's not like people get murdered all the time. Like, well, yep, they do, but not to this extent.
Yeah, not in one night in your hometown, sort of like, where everything should be fine, sort of thing. Yeah. So like that's the creepy thing, like for the audience. But then on top of it, we have a series of murders now that like we're gonna kind of move through pretty quickly, because the movie, I mean, it takes its time with it, and effectively so. But each murder is kind of more uncomfortable to watch than the one before it. Like the first one that it kicks off with the it's not the first murder of the movie, but like of the babysitters, of the girl in the back seat, in the front seat of the car with Michael in the back seat. It's a very rough to watch sequence, and you know, from camera techniques of just like the camera sitting there just watching it happen is just tough to watch. From the actual like physicality of it, because you kind of had that voice in the back of your head of like, I could get away from this. Like I could easily, like, he's just got one hand around a car seat. Like, that doesn't look like it's that until he pulls out the knife. But before that, it's like, you're fine. Just fucking run away. Open the door. Get away from him, and you'll be okay. And it's just like you had that voice screaming in your head while she's not able to, and it just makes it that much creepier and like that much more brutal to watch.
And it's one of those things that you see in films so much, where there's like, oh, there's someone in the backseat, and then this one, the way they do it in this one is, like you say, it's almost like voyeuristic a little bit, because it is just one shot, like a continuous running take of her just struggling. I don't think there's any cuts in it at all. I think it's all that same angle. If I remember rightly.
And the audience knows, because she goes and she reaches for the door and it's closed. She has to go back inside, which gives him time to slip in. And when she goes into the car, it's unlocked, but she's not thinking twice. She's like, I'm going to go see Paul. I'm going to have sex. Yeah. So,
for 13 seconds.
Yes, 13. Because John Carpenter's the man. But, you know, and then she gets in the car and she realizes that it's all fogged up, and you're like, oh god, it's coming. And then it happens, and it still gets you because of the score, because of the suddenness of it. And it's just hard to watch because you're in a confined space, and dude's got an arm around your neck, and this dude's powerful, like as we'll see later on in the movie. So it's, you know, we may think that we get out, but we don't know the strength behind that one hand, because the other hand is wielding that butcher knife.
Right. There's great shadow work being done in basically every one of these kills. Every one of them, they fighting to their advantage. There's this whole sequence for one of them where it's going up the stairs of the house, and it's that first person view again, but it's that slow pace going upward and just sort of the creeping and turning around. And every time they have him coming out of the shadows, even if you're expecting it, it's jarring and uncomfortable because you know what's about to happen and it's going to be terrible to watch.
Especially those ones where he just sits in the shadows, like his face just pauses, so it gives you time to see it before the person in the movie does. It's like, oh fuck.
Like the lighting and the cinematography and the use of shadow and light is so like perfect in this film. I think like you've got like sequences where there is literally like the light very slowly dials up a little just so you can see the mask almost like coming into view. And that's like what you're saying, like one of those oh no moments, because it's just like it's a closet or a cupboard or a wardrobe or something, and then all of a sudden you just very slowly start to see the mask just sort of getting illuminated, and you're just like oh fuck, turn around. It's that sort of, you know. And then when they do sort of like see him, it's just like it just sort of like lunges, and like you're saying, it's about the car thing as well. Like we were all thinking, oh, we could get away, but we're thinking we can get away not in a panicked state. Like I don't know if anyone's ever, you know, you're just going about your, like, I don't know if any of you have had it where you're just going about your day and then all of a sudden, like, you know, you grab from behind. I had an incident years ago when I was working at an overnight petrol station, where someone came up behind me and tried to rob the store. And there's just this panic that sets in. Like you're not thinking clearly. You just start panicking, and you know you don't think about, oh well, I can just do this and this and this. You just sort of think, I got to get the fuck away. What the fuck's going on here? But then it's your mind starts racing like a million miles an hour. So it's as the audience, you're there going, oh, just open the door, just open the door. But then the character is not actually going to be thinking that, because there is going to be that state of shock of, whoa, what's going on? Because there is also that you've got that thing like, what's going on here? What the hell's going on?
And even if she did get open the door, he's got a knife, so she can get out. Yeah, go for the back. Then it's fine. But I want to go to Joel's point about the shadow thing, and it was right before this kill. This movie does really well with making you feel at ease and then scaring the holy shit out of you. Because as a kid, the scare that got me the most is when he popped out from back of that car. And that goes to Joel's point, because when he rises from the torso up. So you don't see the white until he's starting to raise his head up. And that scared the shit out of me. And at that point, you know, like he's always around and he's made his choice of who his next victim's going to be. It's just creepy.
See, for me, the thing that scared me the most as a kid, it's very, very different than the reaction that you had, but it's the same kill-ish. It's the shot later that definitely scarred Tommy for the rest of his fucking life. But it's after he killed the babysitter and he's walking around the house just carrying her. That scared me so much as a kid, because I'm like, this guy doesn't care if he's caught. Like that made him that much scarier to me, that he's just willing to walk around with a dead body that he just killed. Like that it just got in my head and freaked me out. I was like, oh, he's that much more dangerous because he doesn't care.
Yeah, like an adult looks out the window and sees that, like Tommy does, and that's it. They're calling the police. They're reporting it. Tommy starts screaming about the boogeyman because, you know, everyone's been teasing about the boogeyman, and he's seen this guy walk around the house carrying a dead body, and he's trying to tell an adult essentially, oh my god, there's the boogeyman's there, like, you know, someone's just killed someone, and she doesn't believe him, because why would you? He's a kid who's screaming about the boogeyman, but that's how he's processing what he's just seen. And you're right, I bet that would have, like, you know, especially when you find out everything after that. Yeah, that's sort of like, you know, that's going to be his recurring nightmare, I bet.
Oh well, I mean, and if you're a person in this world, you almost wouldn't believe what you see. Right. Yeah. It is so out the norm and so wild that you would look to them and be like, wait, what did I do? What just happened?
Oh, that guy's got a drunk girlfriend. Like
that was actually Donald Pleasance.
In a wig. Oh no, wait, that was a skip from New York.
All right. So after that murder, the next one is it's PJ Smalls, right?
Well, no, it's the boyfriend first.
The boyfriend, but like that couple. Yeah, Bob gets it first. Bob's murder was ruined for me in Scream, because I saw Scream before I saw Halloween. So like that sequence, it's never really bothered me too much, except for the whole, like, you know, if you will, the internet nitpick of like, that body's not staying up there with that knife. But I'm still kind of fine with it because it's so cinematic and so freaky looking, and I love that the knife has its own little knife light. Like, because like the real world me is like, I like to imagine that Michael walked into the kitchen, like held out a hand, and was like, oh, that's a good light. I wonder if I could get a knife to be right there. Like the whole like, this is gonna look great, guys. Just hang, gotcha. And if you were alive, you'd be like, that looks sick. Like,
the thing is with that, like, the internet going, oh, it wouldn't hold, like that knife wouldn't hold him up. But we're talking about, Michael Myers, a character who we know has got a huge amount of strength. Like, we know he's a really strong guy. So if you stick, like, that's a bigger knife as well. If you stick it through him hard enough and go, like, literally into the fridge door, it'd probably hold up there for a few minutes. That was long enough for him to do that creepy little stare thing he does.
That was definitely a point where I realized, like, he's a real freak of nature.
Yeah.
Like they sort of show him strong arming people and being powerful, but to lift somebody by a knife they stabbed him with is just unreal. You did the fuller scope of what kind of beast he is.
Yeah, that becomes kind of his power move. He starts really enjoying that move throughout the rest of this franchise. Like, look, Ma, I can pick people up with a knife. Whee!
It's his party trick.
Yeah, he's really good at it. I mean, he pulls it off well. But the after that, he has to go upstairs to the PJ Smalls, who is, it looks like she's kind of gearing up for round 2. So maybe maybe Bob was actually, maybe a 30-second man. Who knows? He might have lasted a full minute. But it looks like, yeah, she was having a good time. And like, it's one of those things where it's like, I get it. Like, you can be rational. Like, you don't imagine that your boyfriend is pinned to a wall downstairs and you think that he's just goofing around. But as like the audience member, it's so hard watching him show up with the sheet over his head and be like, how do you not have 1,000 warning bells going off right now? Like, how? I just
love the image as well of the sheet over his head with the glasses on.
Yeah, those are glasses. Yeah,
it's just goofy enough to like. I think that's what it is. I think it's because it's just goofy enough for her to believe that it's Bob goofing around. It's like, oh yeah, with the sheet and everything like that. And because it's because they do seem very happy. Let's say like they're laughing a lot and.
But like there was something just kind of like fun about that sequence though. Like, don't get me wrong, like it's fucking horrible watching this poor girl get murdered. She didn't even have time to put her clothes on. Like
got a blouse on,
half on.
But wearing it as a jacket.
It's a jacket. It's an overshirt. Quick side story. Have you guys heard the story when she went to go see it with her boyfriend in the theaters?
Yep. Do you know who her boyfriend was?
No, I remember somebody famous, but I don't remember who it was.
Dennis Quaid.
Oh, it was Dennis Quaid, yeah. So famously, Joel, if you don't know the story, if your audience member don't know the story, she went to go see this with her boyfriend, Dennis Quaid, in theaters, and that line of the "see something you like," some guy in the front audience is like, "Fuck yeah, I do."
Actually, apparently the guy sat behind them, and Dennis Quaid nearly turned around and punched him.
Yeah, she's like, so like, "Aw, no, don't do anything. Like, he sees something he likes, good for him." And it's like, PJ Smalls sounds like the coolest fucking person. But anyhow, so Michael does not see something he likes, and he strangles her to death.
I do love the dose. Going back to it, the dose brings just a tiny bit of levity to something that is so heavy and dark this entire time. I think that's why it works.
It's kind of like, it's nowhere near as extreme, but it's kind of like the bumbling cops in Last House on the Left. It's like, this movie is so hard to watch. If they weren't here to just take the foot off the gas a little bit, this movie would be impossible to watch. And I kind of feel the same way about, especially her murder. Because to me, and maybe it's just, me and my preferences, because of that whole totally thing and all that, she became kind of like the nice one. She was like the entry point, the kind of the funny one. So the one you didn't really want to see die. So that the fact that she has this brutal thing where she's on the phone with her friend is listening to her die. It's so fucking bleak. Having him in that goofy ghost getup, it's like, okay, I can get through this scene and not be depressed at the end of it.
Plus, we don't know, you think about the motives of a killer, and Michael's very methodical. You can see that in the way he stalks. He very well could have been just waiting outside that door for a long time, waiting for her to come out, and it's like, shit, I gotta get creative. Oh, here's the bed sheet. Like, we don't know, like, it just lends itself to the fact that Michael might not, we think of him as just this person going around and killing. When he puts that bed sheet on, he's showing the audience that this is a guy who is methodical and he knows what he is doing, because he could continue to stalk her and stalk around the house, but he needs to, he wants to kill her, so he does it then, and he does it by disguising himself. He's already got a mask on, so if he came in there would be a struggle. He can still surprise her, which is the way he likes to kill people, what he did with Annie and Bob, by putting a sheet over and making her think that it's someone else. He still, that could be where he gets his kicks for 12 seconds. I don't know.
There's also something to be said that he waits to kill her until she's on the phone with someone.
Yeah.
Like that added level of like, somebody has to listen to this girl die. Like I love the idea of Michael being this like great white shark, just like, I'm gonna murder, but at the same time, like having that little extra intelligence makes him that much more scary.
Right.
So like, as far as like the faceless murder, like that's great, but I think this makes him that much better.
Mm-hmm.
It's like sadism. He's a sadistic killer. Although like what you were saying, Ryan, about him like waiting for it to come out, I've just got a mental image now. Michael just sort of like standing behind the door, looking at his watch, going, come on. I've got a really good idea. I've got you. Come on,
this is prime murdering hour. What are we doing here?
I'm losing stalking time.
That girl who was on my front porch
time is
still
murder
out there. I have to go find her still. Damn it. But yeah, so now that they're all dead, Michael does his little like puppet show where he goes and stashes the bodies in a way that'll be fun for someone to find later. And then now it's just him versus Laurie, and this is where we kind of get like that old school 70s slasher sort of vibe, where it was a very much all the red shirts are gonna die, and then I get a half hour of a girl running away from a murderer. It's kind of okay. That's never been my favorite part of older slasher films, especially like I go to like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is like my least favorite version of that, because I just get bored of it after a while. I think Halloween does the best version of it because Laurie is such an engaging character, and because she seems like you actually want her to survive because she seems like a good person. But that said, like it's still just kind of a normal slasher ending, and that's more of a problem of the time now than the time then, because it's normal because of this movie.
So at the time it came out, this is new and exciting, but then it's just been done over and over and over again. I mean, like Christ, how many Friday the 13th films did this same thing?
Like
all 12 of them. All 12
the
of them.
Majority, You've
got 12 films right there, and then you've got all the other kind of rip-offs that did that same thing as well, like the rip-offs of Halloween that became rip-offs of Friday the 13th, which became rip-offs of Nightmare on Elm Street as well. They all do the same sort of like slasher style ending.
Yeah, and there's a part of me that's like, that's fine. There's another part of me that's like, well, it's also just fine. I think this one does a really good job with it. I like the whole Laurie is smart enough to know she needs to get the kids out of the picture. Like after she goes and finds all the bodies, she comes back and she's like, all right, job one, wake Tommy the fuck up and get him the hell out of the house. Like get the kids safe before I worry about myself. And I think that's a really nice touch. And the kids running out of the house always makes me chuckle, because that's like the cops. We haven't really talked about detective much, or not detective, Loomis much in this, because he really just kind of hangs outside of a house for the majority of the movie. But like him,
and then just happens to notice the car, like however long that's been parked there.
Yeah, like that's I can.
He needs to look around more.
Like I love Loomis; he's a great character, but for the purpose of our podcast, there's not really much to talk about with him. At least not in the beginning of the movie. But at the end of the movie, there's a lot more. But I love him watching the kids come running out, because she's just like, go down to the street to the neighbor's house. Everything's gonna be fine. And the kids just run out of the house. Just zero chill. But it's helpful to Loomis, because he's like, oh, I bet that's the house with the murderer. But like the cat and mouse game between Michael and Laurie is great, and I like that. Like we'll get into it next week. But I like that like the damage done to Laurie is actually like legit damage. It's not like horror movie damage where it's like, oh, I hurt myself, but I'm fine. Like she gets thrown off a balcony, she gets kind of stabbed in the arm, more so scratched in the arm, sliced. But she gets pretty beat up, and as the movie's going, like it's more and more obvious. Like by the point we get to her like trying to outsmart Michael by like opening the door to the patio and then hiding in the closet, it's like she's hiding in the closet because she can't stomach jumping off the patio at this point because it's gonna fucking hurt. Like, she isn't just pain. But even with all that pain, she keeps beating Michael every step of the way. Like the first time he jumps up from the couch, she gets him with a sewing needle. Tries to get her in the closet, she gets him in the eye with a fucking hanger. Like, she's a fighter. She's scrappy. She uses what she's got around her, and she survives. Like, that makes it that much more engaging for us as an audience to watch.
I mean, I think one of the characters, one of her friends, early on in the film refers to her as a Girl Scout or something.
Yep.
Or something like that. And it's the way that she attacks Michael is very much like that sort of use what you've got kind of thing that you would learn in the Scouts. I imagine. I was never a Scout. But it's that sort of, you know, like almost like what we would call a MacGyverism now because of MacGyver. Like, you know, it's like, oh, I've got a knitting needle here. I'll stab him in the eye. Oh, he's coming in. Oh, there's a coat hanger here that I can just sort of like, I'll stretch it out and, you know, stab him.
The panic stretch of like, I got to get this thing so I can get him before he gets me. It's like, it's so effective.
Yeah.
It's a great compare
really
to
well. Sorry.
It's a great compare to what Matt said about the car scene, right? Because Panic's going to set in one way or another. Something intimate like the car scene where he's got his arms wrapped around you right away. You're like a cornered animal trying to scratch and get out, and you have no chance. Where Laurie is kind of I am panicked, but I'm somehow able to keep my composure a little bit better enough to try to think things through. But she has those moments like inside the closet where she's hyperventilating. She's in the corner, letting out all that panic that she held on to for as long as she could. And then finally, like, she has that reprieve moment to think about, like, fuck, this is happening to me.
I mean,
I think one of the most terrifying moments in it is where she gets hold of the knife as well, because then you can just see it. She's just holding that knife like it is a lifeline.
She's
waiting for her moment.
Yeah,
but you can see the panic as well.
She makes calculated decisions. So when she falls off the balcony, she realizes she's in a fight. She runs to the kitchen, locks the door. Most people would just try to run. That locking the door saved her, because then she's sitting there trying to do everything she can to get out, where Michael has put a rake on, so, you know, to lock her in. When he breaks through the door, she's like, all right, I'm going to break through this glass. And she does, you know, and then she's running. And when she realizes the window is open in the living room, she's going to her knitting needle. Like, she knows that she needs to find something to defend herself with. She's one of those girls. She's not going to let panic take over her. She realizes she's in trouble and going to find something to fight. That's what I loved about her as a final girl. She's not going to let panic take over her. She's going to fight no matter what she has to do. Then she drops the knife and walks away thinking that it's over, but she doesn't realize what she's getting herself into, even though she should have after she shoved a knitting needle in the dude's neck, but that's fine.
Another great thing about her character and what makes her so real, she doesn't want to do any of this.
No,
she does not want to be in a fight. She is not going to have this badass moment with a quippy line somewhere at the end after she stabs him. She does not want to be there. She does not want to cause damage to anybody else. She is doing it for pure survival. And she does the same thing in the following movie too. And that's part of what's great about her character. And I don't know about Jamie Lee Curtis's career, but it's very effective acting too.
Oh yes. Yeah. I mean, I've spent a long time. We did a whole month on Jamie Lee Curtis movies back in ATH days, and she's a phenomenal actor. But I've always been,
even in a shit film like Prom Night.
Yeah, even in a shit film like Prom Night. But there's something just kind of engaging about her, and like I've always loved her more in the horror movie world because she does it so incredibly well. But there is something about the end of this movie where, like, so it's all said and done. She's unmasked Michael for some reason that's never really made a lot of sense to me, because to me, his face doesn't matter. Like, that's what's kind of enjoyable about it. And it's kind of like Jason, where it's like, if he ever takes the mask off, who cares? It's like, okay, well, I guess that's what he looks like in this movie. That's kind of what I got in this thing, because it wasn't like some reveal. The only thing I took from is like, he is human, I guess. But even after that, he's shot 6 times and gets up and walks away. So is he?
Shot 6 times, falls out of the second floor of a house as well.
Yeah, like he gets
lands straight on his back.
Yeah, like he gets so brutalized that trying to humanize him just kind of feels like an odd step. So the demasking never really made sense to me. I don't think it hurts or anything to the movie. It's just kind of there. But I love that it's like Loomis shows up, saves the day, at least for the purpose of this movie. And then you get that moment between him and Laurie where it's like, was that the boogeyman? He's like, yeah, kind of. And then it just kind of, then he's not on the field anymore. And then the movie does this thing that's like, if you're even remotely susceptible to horror movies, this movie fucking kills you at the end. That whole like, all right, yeah, he is a boogeyman. He's not in the lawn anymore. He could be here. It's like showing just shots of the town. He could be there. He could be there. And then you start getting the breathing, and it's just like, fuck you, man. Like, I just want to be like, he died. The final girl won. I'm good now. You don't give me that.
And I like that about the film as well, because like, we not really spoke about much with that though. But the breathing sound, like every time they bring that in, and it's just like like it's just like the sound design of that is incredible. I don't know how they did that. I don't know if it's someone breathing through the mask literally, because it does have that sort of muffled, almost like behind a rubber mask sound to it as well. But it's also so creepy, and you know, like as soon as you start hearing that, it's like in Jaws where you hear the dun, dun, dun. You don't have to see the shark, you know the shark's there.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't have to see Michael. And they do a really good job of that as well throughout the whole film, of like not really showing him. It's always like, you know, there's a lot of bits where it's just like just over the shoulder, or it's the shadow, or it's just kind of like, you know, in the background, like very small in the background. And I think it's really effective.
Yeah. And that's John Carpenter fucking with us, because, you know, when Bob dies, that's how you know Michael's around, because of the breathing. But when Laurie gets sliced in the arm, it's just the appearance of the face. So he's really tricking us into thinking like, oh, they're always going to let us know when Michael's around. Nope, not with that. Nope. That is just pure, I've got you. You're mine now. So
well-made movie.
Yeah. Still holds up to today as well.
Oh God, yes.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Like that's like what was the big slasher this year? Was it X? That was a big one, right?
X was a good one, yeah.
I think that was like the big slasher movie this year. Unless there was another, I'm pretty sure it's
Pearl.
Oh yeah, Pearl. Yeah, that's.
And then you've got the third one, which is Maxine. But
yeah, but there's something just kind of like about slashers in general that like I've always enjoyed the genre really ever since I got into this very first Halloween movie, and then got into Friday the 13th and just kind of went crazy. But like they're only as effective, you know, as the filmmaking allows them to be, because you know. They can go many ways of like, do I really want to sit here for an hour and a half, 2 hours watching teenagers get fucking murdered? Not really. Like that doesn't really sound fun. And when the director is smart enough to make it fun, or at least make it like the experience fun of like almost like in a haunted house, but you're just sitting in a chair, it makes it that much better. And like I think X did a good job of that, but like movies like X could never pull it off without having something like Halloween to go back to, and like knowing that balance of like making scary and horrible fun to watch. Because even that just doesn't sound right to say, but they do it. Like like Joel said in the beginning of this episode, each one of these murders fucking brutal, hard to watch shit. I still enjoy watching this movie. It's still fun to watch. I still kind of laugh when the stuff happens. Like that shouldn't be happening, but it's just master filmmaking.
It's that sort of dark side of the human psyche that it's unlocking a little bit. It's like, you know, it's letting us peek behind the curtain of like, because like most of us are not psychopathic killers. At least 3 of the people on this podcast are not psychopathic killers.
You're the quiet ones.
But like films like this, it allows us to kind of explore that a little bit. Not to the point where we're actually feeling what it's like, but you know, we're seeing what that is. So it allows that sort of dark side of the human psyche to be sort of explored a little bit, and then they kind of make it a little bit fun to watch though, because it's not just like brutal murders, because you know, Christ, you just watch the news and see that.
Yeah.
That's not as fun.
Yeah, that's way less fun.
That's predictable.
It's that sort of like, and like I was saying earlier on, it's that voyeuristic element to it as well. I think it does feel very like when especially this one with like all the kills, it kind of lingers on them.
Yeah. So
it gets that, you get that sort of like almost voyeuristic element to it, like where Annie in the car and Linda when she's getting strangled by the phone cord, it hangs on her as she's getting strangled. I mean, like, yeah you get it cut in a little bit between Laurie when she's on the front thinking that she's hearing Annie having sex.
Yeah.
But
I mean, to be fair, those are some sexy death moans.
Well, yeah.
Now that'd be a good game. Just have a list of moans from movie cinema. Is it sex or is it death?
Sex or murder.
Sex and death.
Yeah, I'm not playing that game. I'm afraid I'm too accurate. Bryan, you scored 100. Oh fuck.
We've earned our explicit tag this week.
You're really good at this.
All right. Well, I think we've kind of covered the movie. I think we should move into our favorite moments now for this one, because like, back in the ATH days, there's always favorite quotes. And then in, all the binge buddies have been kind of different all there. And then in the Peacemaker days, I just kind of changed it to favorite moment. And that just kind of made it a lot easier. I'm gonna kind of stick with that for Bad Days in Haddonfield. And it's gonna be either favorite moment, quote, kill, whatever you want to call it. What was that thing that made you go like, this is a good movie? And to just completely throw a wrench in that, I'm gonna go first. And the thing that I always remember the most in this movie, and will always be like that one little saving grace of like something in here that isn't all about death and murder. And it's when Tommy's going over his comics with Lori, and she's like, "Why'd you hide these?" Like, because my mom doesn't want me to have them. And then she starts listing the comics, which are all just made up things because, they didn't have the rights for it. But the ones they made up sound fucking horrible. And I've always been like, well, maybe your mom didn't want you to have them because they're shit fucking comics.
Tarantula Man. It's literally like Spider-Man. We can't say Spider-Man. All right, fucking hell. Tarantula Man then.
So like that's always been my one that like, oh, I can make fun of the comics in there. That one I got. So I'm gonna throw that one in for me. Ryan, what about you?
Well, I have to say 3 because
Okay.
I have to say favorite moment is okay. I'll say my favorite line. Everybody's entitled to one good scare. I think that really sets the stage for this movie. Because it scares Abound after that line, even when she goes home and he's standing outside of her window, after she had a scare. So it's like she's getting all these scares and they're all good. And it just shows you what this movie can do. Favorite kill is gonna be Lindsay's dog when he's out there barking, just because it shows that Michael knows no bounds and will kill anything that is in his path, even if it's something that's going to give him away. He even eats a dog from there, in the house. And then favorite moment, I would have to say Michael behind the bushes before the one good scare. In broad daylight, if you were walking down the street and you saw that, you would turn and walk the other way. But I think it just really set the tone for the movie.
I have a friend who's been on ATH a few times, who used to do that to people when he was in like 6th grade. He'd put on his Michael Myers mask and his Michael Myers jumpsuit and hide behind bushes and just stare at people as they're walking down the sidewalk. He thought it was hilarious.
It's got a comic value to it.
How did he not get shot by some nutcase?
Because he's like 3 feet tall. It was 6th grade. He was itty bitty.
I don't know what grades are in your weird country.
Primary school.
Thank you, Ryan. I like you, Ryan.
Matt, what about you?
So I'm going to go with a line, and it's Loomis, because I think Donald Pleasance in this, like I said, he doesn't do a lot, but he's got some fantastic lines, and this is kind of his Robert Shaw from Jaws moment, where he goes, I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding in even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, of good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up, because I realized that what was living behind those boys' eyes was purely and simply evil.
Now you have to remember that with awesome. 4 bottles of wine in your system.
Yeah, exactly. And it's such a good thing. It says a lot as well about Michael Myers as like the character, because you have that thing of like, he spent 8 years trying to reach him and then gave up. This is a guy who gave up and then almost become to the point of obsessive, trying to keep him locked up. And it sort of like puts you in the headspace of where he is at the beginning of the film and why he's just so kind of like when in the car, he just looks annoyed the whole drive through, and he's literally annoyed because they are moving him, and it's like, no, they should just lock him up and keep him locked up. Do not give him any chance to escape.
Yeah, And somewhere out there, little Rob Zombie watched that sequence and went, I'm gonna make a movie someday. And it's okay. Joel, what about
you? That hallway scene, going up the house hallway. There's something, the darkness and shades of darkness are so natural feeling in that moment, and going up the stairs and that first person view, it adds to the creepiness of it. Because some movies you watch and it's like, okay, this sort of pitch blackness doesn't make sense for the environment you're in, but everybody's been in their house before where none of the lights are on and you're sort of like on edge and a little uncomfortable walking around like that. And
even going, there's no one here, but fuck.
Yes, but it's that naturalness that makes it really uncomfortable. And it's probably going to be the thing that I think about whenever I think of this movie.
That's fair. All
and
right.
You're never going to walk up your stairs at home in the dark again.
Fortunately, there's a lot of noise and little room to muffle it out in my house, so I can very easily figure out what the source is of.
That could be a negative, though, if there's a lot of noise that is muffling out the sounds of the serial killer just behind you.
So I need to figure out what the kind of like canary in the coal mine system I can create for that.
Just walk around doing that all the time, swinging around.
I'm gonna do the Bart Simpson. Is that where it's?
I'm gonna move my arms, and if you're in my way, it's not my fault.
I don't want to ruin anything for you, Joel, but I'm pretty sure Michael Myers can get through those arms. You might want to come up with a plan B.
If I go like the Mortal Kombat route, like Jax, and get metal arms.
There you go. Yeah. Solid plan B. That's or nunchucks. Plan C.
Or a minigun, like just shoot.
Just a fucking weapon. Yeah,
we're running all the gamut of brutal.
If you look at Michael Myers and tell him you ain't got time to bleed, he may turn the other way.
All right. I think we've done it. We definitely went a little long on this one, which we usually do on the first one. I should start actually planning for that.
And it's a whole film as well. To be fair.
That's true.
It's like twice the length of what we're normally doing.
Hey, we still got all those Resident Evil movies and all the Phantasm movies down to about 45 minutes an episode. We'll eventually do that with Halloween as well. And I should have mentioned in the beginning of the episode, this is the worst time to do this as we've finished. Sorry if this episode sounded different. We're recording totally different this week because our go-to site decided to not work today. And thanks a lot. I'm not going to shit all over you in case you come back and then I still want to use you.
It's not a good work-life balance.
Yeah. But let's do a quick round of plugs and then we can start saying goodbye. For this show and every other show on the ATH network, be sure to check out athpod.com, where we have this show. Obviously, we have Demon Days, an actual D&D live play podcast. We have Joel's show, which I'll let him talk a little bit more about. Afterthoughts. We got Damage Boost from Brock, which is always crushing it. You got to listen to Damage Boost. And we might have a new show from Matt here in the very near future. So lots and lots and lots of stuff popping off at ath.com. So please check that out. That's it for me, Joel.
So we are part of an Afterthoughts podcast, very original name. Lately it's been book clubs. So we just finished Fahrenheit 451. It's been decided we're going to start with Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, you lost that argument, huh?
That's a weird thing to call Dune.
So I made a negotiation with her. I said, we'll do Lord of the Rings, but we're going to have like nice breezy books in between each one of those books because I can't marathon those. I love Lord of the Rings, but not that much.
So nice and breezy like breezy. Dune?
Dune's really breezy.
Yeah, it is. Lots of breeze in Dune.
Let me tell you how many times I started Dune twice and realized it wasn't for me.
So, I started it twice and then actually thought, this is actually really good once you get past the first 100 pages.
The best part is the second time was book on tape, and even then I was like, nope.
I like the book on tape. I thought they did a good job. Anyhow,
I do have one more podcast, Super GG Radio. It's part of the Front Row Network. Talked about mostly unreleased beta demos, newly released indie games. Well, we play through our backlog, and I gotta also say we're gearing up for our Extra Life campaign, 24 hours of video game marathons for the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. If you search on their site for Super GG Radio with no spaces, it'll find our team page. And if you want Dune, you need to pay me money.
How much money?
What was that? No dough, no Dune. Was that it?
Yes.
12.50, Joel. Was that 12.50?
12.50. At least 12 cents.
Oh, dude, you just got a 12-cent donation from me, right?
$12. I think they got a minimum limit of like $3, so $12.
$12 when you do Dune? It's like, it was $12. I'll do it right fucking now.
I think that's a verbal binding contract. I mean, we said how much to do Dune, and he said $12. So $12 it is. We get Dune.
Go ahead, Ryan. I'm busy for a moment.
I am also part of the Front Row Network. I'm there doing full disclosures. I'll probably do a full disclosure for Halloween Ends when that movie comes out. We got Monster Cast coming up, and I'm a big player in Monster Cast because I love horror movies. So the month of October is dedicated strictly to all things horror or, spooky stuff. So but I am a host on Front Row Flashbacks, where we break down movies of the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. And for TV, I'm currently on The Bro Knows Nothing, talking about House of the Dragon. But that's where you can catch me. You can catch me on Facebook. Just type in the Front Row Flashbacks. You'll find us there. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter as well. But that's pretty much it.
Cool. All right. Well, guys, I think this was an absolute fantastic first episode. I had a lot of fun recording it with you. I hope everyone had a really fun time listening, and I can't express how excited I am to get through the rest of these movies. We haven't done like a legit slasher film on Binge Buddies yet. We've done horror before, but not, dude with knife, go stabby stabby. So,
I mean, we did do all the Friday the 13th films in one episode. That was a rough couple of weeks, though.
That was
all those films.
That might be why this isn't a Friday the 13th show, because that one was like, man, marathoning those was rough, and I love them, and that was rough.
You got to watch 12 films in like 2 weeks before a podcast, though. It's you see a lot of teenagers die. Yeah,
and it's like, oh man, I don't. You've ruined boobs. Like, come on.
But her nipple placement was perfect.
I remember the.
Oh, Juliana
Gill. Okay, thank you everyone so much for listening. We will see you next week. Bye.